things that's really been a big thing in my life is the power of certainty. It's been a big thing in everybody's life, I would say. It's just that perhaps the majority of people, or many people, haven't stopped to think about it, and therefore sometimes when you don't think about things, you're not able to leverage them or take full advantage. It's like, just about everything we do. If there's certain aspects of technology, or even something as simple as driving a motor car that you're not aware of, like you didn't know it had air conditioning or heating, or you didn't know it had windscreen wipers, then you don't take advantage of the utility that's there to be had. And in our human lives, understanding certainty and the impact that certainty has in our lives gives us an amazing advantage over not understanding it. So I want to talk a little bit about certainty today, because we're living in a time where there's literally more voices out there striking our eardrums, affecting our brains, which in turn affect our actions, our thinking, the way we act, and ultimately, therefore, our outcomes, than there's ever been in the history of mankind, personkind, if you want to be PC about it, which I don't particularly. And there's so many teachers, you look on YouTube, which is just one of the big platforms, but there's so many others. And there's everybody, including me right now, spruiking ideas, talking about what's important. And I think it can be very confusing. And in actual fact, there's a mechanism inside every one of us, inside everyone that'll listen to this video, that helps us navigate the many voices, the many teachers, the many ideas, the many doctrines and dogmas and philosophies and all the various nuances. That's not only is it unique to every individual, but it's specifically set up in such a way that it assists us to take on board what's in our actually in our own best interests, and to sidestep or avoid or minimize the impact of those things which are counterproductive or not in our best interests. And until we reach that point, we can't really experience certainty. And without certainty, we're wavering around. We're like a cork bobbing on the ocean, there's no stability in our lives. Now, this world of many voices, this world of many teachers, many ideas, many programs, many paths to go down, is an unstable environment to be navigating. I remember when I used to go to the news agency as a kid, and there was 2 or 3 car magazines, there were 2 or 3 house magazines, and there was a very, very small selection of magazines. And then nowadays you go to a magazine shop and there's hundreds of magazines, and that's by no means all of the ones that are available. You go to even to the supermarket, and years ago there used to be a couple of different types of milk, if you're lucky. When I was a kid growing up, there's pretty much only one kind of milk. Now there's low fat, no fat, homogenized, pasteurized. I don't know how many types there are, because I personally don't give a toss, but there's so many, and so many types of bread, and so many types of this, and so many types of that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's complicated, and it's potentially confusing. And whilst it's really helpful to have low-fat milk if you've got a need to drink low-fat milk, it also means that we need to step up in our understanding. We need to take a hold of things that we haven't taken hold of before. I mean, technology, it's only been not even 2 decades that we've had smartphones, and the apps that are now available to utilize and leverage our smartphone so that we can get the most out of it. There's a plethora of them. There's so many, it can be confusing. I've got a friend who finds the whole thing very confusing. Well, guess what? It's only going to get more confusing if that's your attitude. So you've got to go within yourself. And here's me as one of those voices, one of those teachers, one of those dogmas. But listen within yourself and see if it resonates in you as truth. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it. But if it does, take it on board, because that's the mechanism that is unique to all of us. There's something inside of us. For some, it happens very, very instinctively. It's very fast. It's like the birds on your back lawn. When you walk out the back door, they hear the door open and they're gone. You sort of see them already in transit by the time you got the door fully open enough. You haven't even stepped outside yet, but the birds are flying away. And then before they've even thought about it, before they've cognitized what's happening. Daryl's coming out the back door. I know yesterday he bought bread, and the day before he bought bread, and every morning he brings us, yesterday's bread out for us. But I'm just gone, and I'll look from the tree's vantage point down as to see what's really happening, and then act based on that. So that's instinctive knowing. And some people are very instinctive. Other people are a bit sort of instinctively less sensitive, a little more numb. And then there's people who get still a fast reaction, but a slightly slower reaction where they go, interesting idea what's that little sound I hear, the door creaking? Oh, it's Daryl coming out the door. Interesting. And then they can feel good about sticking around or feel good about leaving. And then there's those creatures that are a lot slower that, go, let me really feel into this for a while and observe what's going on. And maybe you're one of those kinds of people. About half the world's population are a little bit like this. You get exposed to something new, a new idea, a new opportunity, somebody pressing you to do something in a particular way, and your kind of natural proclivity, your reaction, your response, your relationship to what's happening is, let me sleep on it. Let me talk to a few people. Let me think about it a while. And so your ability to do what's in your own best interests comes to you in a more progressive and slow manner. Now, until individuals learn, and there's other ways, by the way, that we get in touch with this, what I like to call our inner guidance mechanism. It's a bit like an autopilot on an aeroplane. It automatically guides the aeroplane. It doesn't mean that the aeroplane stays on a perfect trajectory the entire time, because there's headwinds, there's side winds, there's downdrafts, there's updrafts. There's all kinds of opposing forces, or forces not necessarily opposing, but could be a tailwind, but all kinds of forces in the environment in which we're traveling through that demand that we respond to them or react to them or make decisions because of them. And so you can often be in an aeroplane. I live in Asia, and I frequently travel by air long distances. Let's say I was traveling to see family in Australia. I've got a daughter that lives in Australia and a son and 2 grandchildren that live in Australia, and a mother and a sister. So, I've had this experience. You can even be hours into the flight, going in a straight line. All of a sudden, it seems, the plane veers to one side and changes directory. Well, that just means maybe that and I'm not a pilot, but I guess it means that the autopilot has sensed that the wind, perhaps the high winds, have blown the aircraft slightly off track, and so it adjusts ever so slightly to come back on track. It doesn't go back to the airport where it started from. Let's say I left from Bangkok. It doesn't go back to Bangkok and go, oh shit, we're off course, everybody, we've got to go back and start again, we're an hour into the flight, but we need to start the journey all over. No, it doesn't do that. It just makes a correction. And in our lives, we've got this mechanism within ourselves. For some, it's very fast. For some, it's fast, but not very fast. And for others, it's moderately fast. And for others, still, it's slow. And for some, it's very slow. You might have to go through a whole, period of weeks and maybe even months or longer to finally get to that point where you go, yeah, I'm clear about what I want to do here, and I'm certain. Now, whether you arrive at certainty instantaneously, quickly, progressively, or very slowly over time is not the point. The point is that without, not my point in this talk, the point I'm wanting to make here is that it's the certainty that is so important for you to reach. And until you reach that certainty, you're going to be blown around like the cork on the ocean, like the boat without a sail and without oars, and you're just blowing wherever the tides and the winds are going to take you. And it's very difficult to get to a determined destination, a preset destination. There's going to be instability in your life. You're going to be wavering. Oh, should I do this? Oh, should I do that? Oh, I wonder what would happen if I tried this. Oh, I wonder what would happen if I tried that. And, after many thousands of hours actually dealing with people, counselling with people, assisting people, understanding people, I'm in the people business, I've concluded that so many people are unstable in their lives, wavering around because they're wondering what they should do. Now, you don't have to wonder what to do. You can actually know what to do. It's possible to know what to do, and even more important than knowing what to do is when to do it. It's possible to know what to do, it's possible to know when to do it. So once you know what to do, once the what to do possesses you, you can begin to go with certainty. Call it confidence if you like. Now, part of the process in developing this certainty of what to do and when to do it involves you knowing not only who you are, but before that, what you possess. I'm just going to pause for a minute here because I want to come back to this topic in a moment.